Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices.
Hello, dear participants. Thank you so much for joining today's session. We'll be starting a session now. Please allow me a minute so I can share my screen and we can start. Meanwhile, please let us know where you are joining this session from. We would love to know your locations. And I hope you all can see my screen here. All right. I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to our learning series, Global Skill Development Council Certified Learning, Skilled in Generative and Agentic AI, Transforming Risk, Compliance, and Growth, with a theme that is driving compliance growth with generative and agentic AI. My name is Preetham. I'll be here as moderator. Do let me know if you have any question or concern. Feel free to reach out to me over the chat box, and I'm very happy to assist you all. And we had this incredible panel of speaker for this entire week. We had amazing sessions previously with this expert. So this was scheduled from 9 to 13th February 2026. So I'll be announcing all the upcoming week's webinar as well. So stay connected till the end of this session. And before I could hand over the mic to our speaker today, I would love to introduce our hosting organization, those who have joined us for the first time. So we known as Global Skill Development Council. We are vendor agnostic, vendor neutral. We are globally recognized certification body and we are accredited by ABICB. We do have 100+ certification portfolio with us and we have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide. We have 500+ subject matter experts. They work with us closely to help us with our exams, programs, and all the deliverables. Also, we are associated with 1,000+ multinational corporates and 500 Fortune companies and 50+ universities across the globe. And I'm very proud to inform you all that we do have 100+ authorized training partners across the countries like America, Canada, right? So I would love to thank you, those who have joined us through our training partner channel. In case if you're looking for any training partner, training courses to have an inquiry about it, you can get in touch with our training partners. I'll share the contact details shortly in the chat box. A special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub. They cover all our events and press releases. So I would love to quickly introduce you all to GSDC AI Studio, a platform where we are providing 100+ live sessions on AI, which is led by global experts. You will be getting 4 daily sessions, which is 45 minutes of live impactful sessions along with the hands-on learning, real-time practice, which means you will be getting a platform where you can apply all the concept immediately that you have learned in that particular session. And in case if you get any question or doubt, that will be resolved instantly with the help of our subject matter experts. So this is the opportunity where you'll be learning from the AI leaders around the world. And this training is aligned with the industry standards for the job ready skills. If you want to know more about GSDC AI Studio, feel free to get in touch with our learning advisor. They're always there to help you all with the entire process. I will share the contact details shortly in the chat box. So as I mentioned in my previous slide that we do have a 100+ certification portfolio. So our current certification portfolio specifically designed for all the professionals worldwide who are looking to upskill themselves and to stay industry relevant in this AI era, right? So we have a certification in different domain that includes L&D, HR, generative AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO lead auditor, implementer, project management, PMO, agile DevOps, SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and so on. So if you want to know more about our certification program, visit our website www.gsdcouncil.org or get in touch with our learning advisors. I'll share the contact details shortly. What all benefits you will be getting with the certificates? You will become GSDC's member for a lifelong. You'll be getting membership. Along with that certificate upgrade, free access to all our workshop, boot camps, and guess what? You'll be getting free access to all our exclusive learning program that we have with that implementation resources, speaker invites, and newsletter. A lot of benefits, right? If you want to understand more about these benefits and the certification program, you can reach out to our learning advisors. I will share the contact detail after this announcement. And without any further delay, it's my honor to welcome our today's speaker, Manisha Arora. So Manisha is a data science lead at Google Ads, where she leads the measurement and incrementability vertical across search, YouTube, and shopping. She has 12+ years of experience in enabling data-driven decision-making for product growth. Her expertise lies in deriving data insights and translating them into strategic business solution. Manisha is a passionate about coaching data professionals and helping them unlock the next level in their career. So she'll be taking us through the topic, which is how AI is transforming business strategy from automated insight to data-driven decisions. Thank you so much, Manisha, for joining today's session. You can have the handover of the virtual mic now. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Preetham, for that introduction, and welcome everybody. So, over the next over the next hour or so, we'll be talking about how AI is transforming business strategy. And then how we are moving from just automated insights to actually, making a lot of data-driven decisions. So let me start sharing my screen, and then we'll get started. Before we go deeper into it, just some, operational, notes here. So whatever, whatever we are speaking and discussing here, like, are my personal opinion and do not reflect my employers in any way. And I do expect you to go to mute so we all can have a smooth learning experience. And if you have any questions, then feel free to submit that in the chat. So this is the agenda for today. We'll just go over, what the problem is, how do we go from data to insights. We'll look into some agents and agentic workflows. We also have designed a few, demo agents, and we will be providing the system architecture, how you can build your own agents. And also we will be showcasing a live demo of one of the agents we have built for data science. So here's a quick intro about me, which I think I've covered, so we can skip that. Like a little disclaimer, which I mentioned, that these are my own personal views and do not represent my employer in any way. The other thing I want to mention is that AI is also pretty evolving. So, I'll try my best to share whatever information I have, but, we all are in this learning journey together because things are changing so fast with AI. So let's see what have been the challenges we've been facing with data science. If you go back a couple of years, if you look into the pre-AI era, then we were deriving a lot of these insights manually, right? Like somebody would ask you, hey, what's the Q3 sales by region? And then a data scientist, would spend a couple hours digging through the data and trying to come up with an answer for that. Right, so he would actually pull some data. He would write, clean queries, and then take a couple hours to get back with that answer. So this was a traditional workflow which could take a few hours. But then now what we have is that we have pretty fast and self-serving pipelines which can answer that question instantaneously. So if somebody asks, show me the sales for Q3, then we can immediately, pull that number. We can also provide more granular insights. For example, North America might represent, let's say, X% of sales, whereas, so we can also provide insights on where that growth came from, right? So these are now insights which are being delivered in, within minutes. Which was, whatever was taking us hours, sometimes even days to do. So, but then this isn't just about speed, obviously speed is one component, but this is not just about speed. It's fundamentally changing how businesses, how our businesses and organizations accessing, and acting on that data. And that's what we are here to discuss today. So we discussed this a little bit, before the AI era started. Obviously, AI has been there for a while, but since we have seen this recent wave, we had a lot of static dashboards. There was a lot of, manual root cause analysis and diagnosis we had to do on the data. There was also a lot of human-led hypothesis generation, why certain things are happening, and then we would get into a rabbit hole of, figuring out the answers to that. But now we can have automated detection of anomalies. We can also build narratives, and we can also build, some kind of automated hypotheses on why certain things might be happening. So that is why, we see that the insight generation is faster, it's continuous, and it's automated. So that is why I mentioned that businesses are going through a fundamental shift in how they access and operate on data. So now, one of the things that, one of the exciting things, which is happening and how this is being made possible is we are actually building agents, which are, you can think about agents, as one, one of your AI teammates that can reason, that can make decisions, and that can take action on your behalf as well. So historically, we have known AI, like, or at least what most people have known AI, like, is a conversational chatbot, right? You ask some questions, you would get some answers back. We've all heard about different kind of conversational chatbots, which I'm sure we use a lot. But agents go one level deeper than that. So they are not just conversational chatbots, they can actually reason, they can think, and they can make decisions. So that is why they can actually just interact with other systems. The agents can also interact with other agents, right? Like, and they can, also adapt to complex scenarios. So unlike traditional large language models, which where we only have prompting, like, and that prompting is basically done in isolation. These agents maintain context. They can also just execute a multi-step process, not just one step, but a multi-step process. Also traditional like LLMs, if you look into that, they have very little memory, right? So they would have, like basically minimal memory. They can remember some things, but not a whole lot of things. That is why like each iteration, starts from scratch. Whereas, whereas with agents, we are solving by breaking complex tasks into manageable steps. Here's an example to understand that a little bit more. So let us say that we want to book a flight ticket, from New York to the Bay Area. Now this might seem like a simple request for a human, but let us see how, what are the different steps which are actually involved, and how does it, differ in terms of how the LLM would act and how the agent would act. So first step is the user's request that you get, right? So somebody might say, book me the cheapest ticket from New York to California. So that's the problem statement that's given to us. The second step is that the agent steps in, right? They understand the criteria. There are a couple of different points which are important here. First is the word cheapest. So they are looking for something that's minimal cost. Second, round trip, right? Like, and then third, the to and fro locations. So, we are breaking down like every, all the keywords which are most important to addressing this request. Then the third thing that happens is that the LLM starts the planning, because we have to understand the nuances. We also have to break down the tasks. We have to formulate specific queries here. So that is why, that is why the LLM is used for all the planning that goes behind addressing this particular request. uh, you know, uh, Once we have that information, that is where the agent steps in. So they would validate the understanding, the intent, the criteria, what exactly we're able, what exactly is the task here. And then the LLM reasons through different, different kind of options, because we can have a ton of options for flight tickets going from one place to the other. So they would reason through that and then determine the best flight option for the user. Finally, when we have had all of that, then the agent can take certain actions. And this is the differentiating step here, because the agent can actually make the flight booking on your behalf. They can, they can actually send a notification that the flight ticket has been booked. They can also ask you, like, if you like a certain flight ticket, and if you want them to book it or not. They can also just update your calendar, right? So they can actually mark your calendar so that nobody books it for other meetings while you're flying. And it can also send, maybe send some email updates. So it can share that, hey, this particular flight ticket has been booked and I'll see you in California like in X number of days. So here the agent is taking a lot of actions, right? So if you look into the LLM, and a key difference which I want to point out between the LLMs, which are large language models, and the agents, is that the LLMs are intelligent, but they are more language based and they can reason, but they cannot act. They are the strategic brain, but they are not the executor. So so they don't execute the queries on your behalf. this is where the agent steps in, where the agent can not only connect with other agents, they can connect with a lot of other services. For example, in this case, we might have to connect to a flight booking website. We might have to connect to some kind of email notifications or phone notifications, which we might have to send, right? And then we also have to connect with, let's say, with, let's say, a calendar, right? Also maybe an email service. So there are different kind of microservices that this agent is connecting to, and that is how it's able to execute that task. So think about the agent like as an executor, whereas the LLM like is more of a strategic brain, right? So that is why this combination becomes really powerful, because the LLM is basically doing all the thinking and the reasoning, like, and then the agent is like actually acting on its behalf. So we did touch upon the agent, like, and I also mentioned agent-to-agent frameworks, which are also getting super popular. So you can think about agentic frameworks as structured systems which are designed to build AI agents that can operate like on their own, that can make decisions, that can plan certain actions, like, and that can that can also like adapt to your specific needs. So so they do decision making and reasoning. They also do planning. They have learning capabilities. They can also adapt to your most recent queries and patterns. They can collaborate with other agents. They can collaborate with other tools and API services. And there's active monitoring that is integrated within those agents. They also have a lot of freedom and autonomy to act on your behalf, right? Like, obviously, we have to provide what is that level of autonomy that we need them to have, like, and then they can actually design, they can actually act in that way. So this was a little bit about the difference between traditional like LLMs, and agentic frameworks. Hope that gives you a sense about the difference between the two, because this is really key to understanding some of the later slides and what we've built here. All right. So with that, let's look into a specific type of agent, which is called a React agent. Like a React agent stands for Reasoning and Acting Framework. So that is where the term React comes from. It combines chain of thought reasoning with external tool uses. So I've mentioned a little flow here, which is, let's say we get a user query, and that may be passed to some sort of LLM, like it can be passed to a Gemini, it can be passed to a ChatGPT. So there are different kind of LLMs available in the market that these user queries can be passed to. There are certain thoughts and reasoning, or certain kind of answers which you will get from the LLM, like, and then the agent can make a decision. Have we already found an answer, or have we not found an answer yet? Right? So like if the answer has not been found, then it can go back like and run this iterative loop like until it finds a good answer, right? Throughout this process, they can also connect with certain tools, like I mentioned, right? So YouTube, they can connect with your, with your regular web search. They can also make certain decisions, and they can connect to, let's say, like if you want to host a code, or if you want to edit a certain piece of code, then it can connect to, like a lot of other coding services and interpreters, and there are a bunch of other tools which I also mentioned that it can connect to, right? So this is your React agent, which is not just thinking, but it's also reasoning deeply, like it's checking if it has received the answer or not, like it's running this iterative framework, and it's finally making decisions by going and collaborating or integrating with these other tools and services out there. So this is what makes this framework so powerful, because it can connect with other services, and that can drive your business needs. So this is where the real magic of agents happen, is when they collaborate with all these tools which I've mentioned here, and there are a ton more, right? So now I mentioned that agents can also speak, can also speak with other agents. So here's a little agent-to-agent protocol. Okay, yeah, where like I've shown these two agents, which are just local, which are local agents. They are connected to the LLMs, like, and then they have a framework that we have designed for each of these agents. They are also connected to other APIs and services. For example, uh, uh, like, in the previous case that we discussed, there can be agent one, which is responsible for your flight booking. So it's going to find the best, like booking like option, like it's going to run through a few iterations and it's going to book the one that it feels is best suited for your, queries and preferences. Whereas the second agent, which I've mentioned here, can actually connect to your calendars and emails, right? So so that is why the second agent's job, like, is to send you email updates, like, and to send you some kind of notifications, and block your calendar. So maybe that's what it's specialized to do, right? So these are two different agents which will now have to collaborate with each other to implement this particular request. Right? So that is why agents talk to other agents, but it's a very secure connection. You can think about this agent-to-agent protocol, something that is very professional, something where information is shared but not overshared. So only the relevant information for the other agents is passed along between two agents. Right, like, and then each agent has its own specialized capabilities, and there's like the agent framework, which is also like orchestration of that agent, and they are connected via what we call as a model context protocol, or MCP, right, to different APIs and enterprise applications. So that is why when this connection happens between two agents, like, it's pretty secure, like, and it's professional. So we are only collaborating on executing that particular task, like, and not, sharing all the information that the agent has. So that is why, like, building trust in these like AI ecosystems, like, is essential, because there is knowledge sharing that's happening between these agents, right? Um, so think about this, more like a collaboration platform through which, through which these kind of agents are like connecting with each other. So it's a well coordinated system, yeah, and a well, like well coordinated team member. You can actually consider this entire framework as a well connected team that is professional, that collaborates with each other to execute particular tasks. So there is trust, but there is also like information sharing that's happening across these team members, right? Like, also, every team member can be specialized in one or the other task. All right. Now that we understand, what's the difference between LLMs and agents, we understand how the agents function and what they do. We also understand how the agent-to-agent collaboration works, right? Now let us consider, like a summary, like, of what we have discussed so far. So when we look into traditional ML, if you go back a couple of years ago, there was a lot of machine learning that we were doing, and we are still doing that. It's just wrapped around in agentic frameworks. So that traditional machine learning was following some static rules which we provided, right? Whereas the LLM, like the LLMs which I mentioned, they cannot execute tasks, but the agentic frameworks, can actually plan, reason, and adapt. In terms of the autonomy, the agentic frameworks have pretty high autonomy because they can execute tasks on your behalf. So they have that freedom to do it. So they're also pretty self-directed. We don't have to direct them at every step of the way. We can just provide at a high level what we need, and they will figure out on their own, what steps are needed to break it down. In terms of the learning, like, if you remember, traditional machine learning was kind of pre-trained and it had limited updates, like, unless you are specifically going and making some updates to your model, like, and then the LLM assistant is also pre-trained, but it does learn from the user behavior and patterns very often. but the agentic frameworks are continuous in itself improving. So it's able to figure out if it's not able to get an answer, and then it goes back, and just iterates on that query. So that is why there is, also more integration and collaboration, which we have already covered. So hopefully this gives you a sense about the comparison between the traditional machine learning we were doing, like LLMs, and agentic frameworks. One of the message I want to get, I want you guys to take away is that we are not replacing one with the other, right? So there is still space for traditional ML to happen, and it's still happening in a lot of places. So one is not replacing the other, but we are just building capabilities to create something that's fundamentally more powerful than what we had, right? So we are not replacing traditional MLs, we are not replacing the LLMs, but we are using those capabilities to build these agentic frameworks which can actually reason and act. So, it's basically saving us a lot of time. It's trying to take up a lot of manual things that we were doing previously. So we are fundamentally building capabilities which are much more powerful than what, than what we had previously. So now that we understand a little bit about the agentic frameworks, let's compare a few agentic frameworks which are available in the market, right? And also, like I said, this domain is evolving continuously, and it's evolving at a very rapid pace. So this information is just based on my experience, and if something more recent has come up, then definitely let me know. All right, so here are a comparison of 3 agentic frameworks which I've provided. One is a LangChain, the other is a LangGraph, and then I've also had Creo AI. We also have other agentic frameworks which have been released. The ADK, the Agent Development Kit by Google, was also released a few months ago. So that is also a pretty powerful, agentic framework. But there are different kind of frameworks which are available in the market, and they all have their own different strengths, all different applications that we can use it for. So here, I've, marked Creo AI because that's what I have used for, for the demo. We'll do a demo at the end for one of the agents we've built. So I have used the Creo AI, and that is why, I've highlighted that a little bit. But all of them have their place, and all of them can do really interesting things. And definitely check out the ADK framework by Google, which was released a couple of months ago. Super powerful framework as well. So let's look into LangChain. Now LangChain is basically something that integrates with multiple LLMs like, Hugging Face and OpenAI, and there is support, there is direct support from actually prompt engineering. There are built-in tools which are already associated with LangChain. For example, different kind of database queries, the APIs, different kind of web scraping tools. So those are all integrated with LangChain. In terms of the advantages, there is pretty, LangChain is pretty flexible. Also I would say that for both LangChains and LangGraphs, especially LangChain, I feel there's a very active community on the internet. So if you have any questions, if you need more documentation, there is also extensive documentation, which is available for LangChain, but if you have more questions, then there is very, very active community support. So that is why it just becomes much more easier to build frameworks and capabilities because you already have a ton of resources and information that's available out there, right? So this is used for a lot of conversational AI agents. You might have seen people create their customized AI agents, which are typically hosted on LangChain. So, let's say that some kind of agent which summarizes content, which can actually write a blog for you, right? So those are simple use cases, and they are typically built on LangChain. So anything where we have to analyze a document, where we are building, something which is, let's say, some kind of research assistant, right? So all of those are built on LangChains. Now, let's discuss LangGraphs. LangGraphs are just, one level more advanced. So there is there is like interaction between different kind of workflows. Now, LangGraph is best when you have a multi-step process, right? So it's not just one process that you have to implement. Let's say, you, uh, something like summarize this research paper for me. That's just one step. So maybe LangChain is the better suited one for it. But anywhere that we have a multi-step process, for example, we looked into that flight booking option as well. We looked into something like, hey, summarize this research paper, but also convert that into a blog and a LinkedIn post. Right now, there are multiple steps involved in the process, so maybe LangGraph is the best suited option there, right? LangGraph is basically a graph-based representation. Like, I'm not going to get into that detail, but uh, 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 okay, but that graph-based application does allow us to create more powerful applications. So, we are able to build dynamic workflows, which are also adaptive in a lot of ways. Now let's also discuss Creo AI. Now Creo AI is basically, something that follows role-based architecture. What role-based architecture means is that, like, remember I gave you the example, like, of these agentic frameworks where we can consider it as a team of, team of capabilities. Like, it's a professional team where every agent has its own specialized role to play, right? So there are multiple agents which are interacting with each other, and every agent is specialized for a particular task, and it does that particular task really, really well, right? So, that is how we assign different kind of roles. So that's a role-based architecture, and it's dynamic in terms of the task planning. There is multi-agent orchestration, obviously, because, there are different tasks which are, there are different kind of agents which have to speak to each other to accomplish a particular task. So there is multi-agent, orchestration behind the scenes. And it provides a lot of flexibility in terms of role specialization as well. So it can basically like enhance a collective decision making. So it's not just decisions which are driven by one agent, but multiple agents can come together to drive a decision, right? And this kind of this kind of systems are really important. This kind of like agentic frameworks are really important when we are trying to build entire systems and capabilities, right? So there are some specialists which you need to accomplish certain kind of tasks. There is, let's say, one agent that specializes in managing your calendar, right? Like, and all the events on your calendar. That's a very specific task or specialization, and one agent can specialize there. There can be other agents which are specialized in more of, let's say, your content creation. There can be other kind of agents which are specialized in, let's say, your taking and addressing your customer complaints and queries. So these different agents can come together to form a system, right? And that is exactly what Creo AI would enable us to do. So that is why Creo AI gets as close to the production ready or enterprise applications as possible, right? Like, and then this Creo AI basically mirrors the real team, and it can scale from very simple to very complex workflows. Hope this provides you a little sense about like Creo AI. And here's a step-by-step illustration of how to use, Creo AI. So the first thing that you do is define your agents, because like I mentioned, there can be different agents coming together for, for collective decision making. So you define your agents together. You specify what is each agent's role to play, right? And what are the specific tools that they will have access to, right? So all of this, information about the agents can actually be defined in what we call as a YAML file, or it's basically, like a form of Python, it can also be written directly in a Python code, but we typically define it as a YAML or a configuration file. So, so at this point, you have to ask questions like, what will this agent specialize in? What's their expertise, right? And what kind of tools do they need access to? So that is your first step. Now, the second step is basically to define the tasks. So you have to define different kind of tasks, describing what needs to be done and who or what agent will be responsible for that, right? These tasks can actually be done sequentially, which is one after the other, or they can be done independently. So multiple agents are firing at the same time, right? And how you decide between between an independent workflow or a sequential workflow is basically just dependent on the particular need that you are trying to meet. Uh, and this will become more clear as we get into an actual demo. But for now, just understand that there are different tasks which agents can perform, and different agents can perform them sequentially or independently based on the workflow that you need to accomplish. Then the third step which we do is just assemble your Crew AI together, right? So we are combining agents and tasks into a Crew object, so you can specify the process in which you want these tasks to be done. And then the final step is basically where you run the workflow, right? We are starting the process by passing in the required inputs. We are constantly monitoring the execution and reviewing the results. And then we are also providing detailed logs for any kind of debugging or optimization that's needed. So this is your entire 4-step process to build agentic frameworks. First, define the agents. Second, define the tasks which would be accomplished by every agent. Third, then bring all the agents together, and then fourth, run on monitor the workflow, right? And then, here's a little system architecture of what we have created. Now, before we get into the demo, what we have built is basically a data science agent, which can generate a lot of your technical reports and business reports based on the data that's provided to it. So, so we have mentioned 2 different agents here. One is the BA agent, which you see in the first blue box, and then the second is the EDA agent, which you see in the second blue box. So the first, which is a BA agent, which basically stands for, a business analyst agent, is the one that can ingest a lot of data. It can also ask a lot of questions on the data, right? For example, how long of a time period do we have in the data? Do we have any missing values in the data? It can also ask things like, what is the shape and size of the data? How many files do we have? What kind of information is present in each files, right? So it's basically specialized to ask these particular type of questions, like the type of questions that you would expect a business analyst to ask, right? So the first agent is something that we've built that exclusively, just works on getting the inputs from the user, and then getting the raw data, and getting information about that raw data. And then we also have a text to JSON converter, which is where we feed in the user query. And then the second agent which we have built is the EDA agent. Now, EDA stands for actually exploratory data analysis. So this agent is specialized to analyze the data, right? So it's not asking questions about the data. It's not trying to understand the data better, but it's performing some kind of insight and analysis. But it's performing some kind of analysis on the data, so we can get some really good insights out of it, right? And then what it's doing at the end, it's basically providing the EDA summary to me, and it's also converting that into a technical report, which is more meant, let's say, for a data scientist, right? And it's also converting those insights to, let's say, a 1-pager business report, that can go to, go to a senior leader. So, so this particular agent is specialized in building these kind of reports and summaries. Now, when we build all of these together, we are trying to combine these two agents, and we are hosting this on the Azure platform. Okay, you can use any other platform if you like. You can use the GCP service, you can use the AWS service, or any other cloud platform you like. This is what we have used for now. We have built it on the Azure AI, and then obviously there is some kind of LLMs which would be called behind the scenes, and that is what we have mentioned here, GPT 4.0, right? So this kind of GPT 4.0, which is my top layer, would provide all the reasoning and the language capabilities that these agents would have, right? And then everything comes together through these, through this through this cloud platform, which we have used here, the Azure platform. So hope this gives you a little sense about the system architecture that I'm going to show next. So just to summarize, we get all the raw data and the metadata from the users. We have two agents here, but we can have more. If you want to expand this to an enterprise level, we can always have more agents. For now, we have built two agents. One is a business analyst agent, and the other is an EDA, the data analysis agent. The user queries are fed through, user queries are fed through a text. So we need a text to JSON converter, which can speak to these agents. And this, finally, we would get the EDA summaries. We would get technical reports and business reports, and all of this together is hosted on the Azure AI platform, which then interacts with GPT 4.0 behind the scenes. So they are all working together to get these insights for us. Now that we understand this system architecture, this particular framework that we have built, we are calling it the Insight Bot. So what we are going to depict here next is basically the workflow which we have incorporated. So, this might get a little bit, under, under the surface. We are now really getting deep into the architecture. So there are different kind of files which we receive. One is, different kind of files which we build. One, we can build the app.ai, app.py file, which is basically responsible for all the Streamlit, Streamlit components, or so if you want to present it in the form of a UI, so we can do that. Then I mentioned we have two different agents, the BA agent and the EDA agent. So both of them are stored in PY files. We also have the utils file, which basically has all the utility function, for example, helper functions to convert text to JSON. We also have the requirements, which is what exactly are the system requirements or dependencies, that somebody needs to be, to basically run this particular workflow. We also have read.md, readme.md. A readme file, basically, as the name suggests, readme, which is basically some kind of instructions, which is typically when I'm trying to look at a particular project for the first time, the first thing where I start is the readme file. So it has high-level instructions about the project and a step-by-step process of how you can execute the workflow. And then finally, we have different kind of folders. We can have the input data folder and the output folders. The input data is where all the input data is stored, right? And then we have a couple different output folders. We have two different output folders in this case. One is the folder where the output of the first agent is stored, and then the second is the folder where the output of the second agent is stored. So this is the entire workflow where, this is how we have executed and built out this framework, which I was mentioning about, the Insight Bot. So here's a little, before we get to the demo, here's a little task which you can complete from your side. Let us say that you use any, say you use any of the agent development platforms to basically build two agents. These two agents should speak to each other. So let's say you give a particular topic to the agent. So the first agent should generate the outline for the topic. Let's say say we want to publish a blog. So the first agent should generate the outline, just the key, like steps or key pointers which are needed in the blog. So that's the specialization. And then the second should write the blog based on the outline. Right now, it's a very simple framework that you can do. You can just call Creo AI. We can create these two agents. One will write the outline, second will write the full blog, right? And then this has to be a sequential process, right? We cannot implement it independently. We have to run the first agent for us to be able to provide inputs to the second agent, right? So that is why this is a sequential process. So we just mentioned process is sequential, verbose is true, which will basically give the outputs, and then we can just kick off a particular, agent. Let's say that you want to write about the top 10 movies in 2025, so it can just, first one will just provide the outline and the second one will provide the entire blog. So it's actually a pretty easy agentic framework for you to build. So if you guys are getting started with building agentic frameworks, I would suggest that you take this up as your first, first code to build. With that, let's go through the demo. We have about, maybe 10 minutes or so for the demo. But for that, I'm going to pass it over to Siddharth. Siddharth, are you here with us? All right.
Hi, Siddharth. You may unmute yourself now. I have given access to you.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was, sorry, Manisha, I was not able to unmute. I thought it was controlled. So.
Okay, no problem. So Siddharth is the director of data science at Microsoft, and we both worked on building this framework together. So hopefully this gave you a good sense about the architecture, and now Siddharth will actually walk you through the demo. So over to you, Siddharth.
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, let me share my screen, and I hope you will give me the permission.
Yes, so I can stop sharing my screen here.
Let me know if you guys are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, Siddharth.
Yes. So very quickly, I just want to pivot to this architecture so that I can quickly take them through the demo. So the entire implementation, right, like what Manisha mentioned, that we've implemented in Azure, but for us to demonstrate it to you, we have deployed the entire code in Streamlit, right? Streamlit is the UI part of it, right? So we have Streamlit, the codes will invoke the BA agent, Creo AI is the framework, and then the second agent that we have is the EDA agent, right? So I'm going to quickly pivot into the Streamlit. This is our so this is the app that we have deployed. So I'm going to quickly open the app. I'll quickly walk you through the front end. So here is the front end. We have a user interface where the user is able to add the files. The goal of this exercise is to create. First, we want to create the exploratory data analysis, and then create a technical report, right? It could be patterns, it could be anomalies, it could be outliers. I'm going to show you in a bit. And then the second is to create the business insights report. Okay. So let me show you how this works. So I'm adding a data, which I will walk you through in a second. And I'm also going to add a metadata, and the metadata is basically a data set that will explain what goes into the data set that I added just now, right? So the data set that I've added is basically a data set. It's a synthetic data set that I've created. It is in this data center and operations domain, where let me quickly pull the data set to you. Right. So this is a synthetic data set that I've created. So I'm going to explain a few of the columns. So the first column is the server ID. So it is the unique identification for each server. And then I have location. This is the location or geographic location where the data center is. You might have, for those who might have used any of the agents or used LLMs in the past, most famous data center across all the platforms, be it Google, AWS, or Azure, is mostly in the US. Mostly it is US East. Then we have the timestamp. We have how much CPU is used, how much memory is used, how much of the disk storage utilization is there. Is there any network latency? Let me just fit the column. And what is the power that is consumed at that particular timestamp, right? The temperature, fan speed, what is the operating system? Then are there any error logs? Error logs are there? When was the last maintenance done? What is the operating system? How long has this been running? What is the server load? And so on, right? So this is the data set that I created. Now, I'm going to show you the metadata that I've added. So the metadata is something like this. So this metadata is to give a better context to the agent. But given that we have all these powerful LLMs that have been released, right? We have GPT 5.2, we have Gemini, we have ChatGPT, right? We have Anthropic. So all these LLMs will be able to understand if it's a simple data set. But imagine if you're working in your own domain, right? It could be, let's say you're working in cardiology or you're working in cancer. You might have to give specific directions with regards to what disease you're focusing on, so that the LLM easily will understand. Similarly, finance as well, right? What constitutes somebody who's going to be a defaulter, and what is the sensitivity of each and every column, right? These are things that you want to teach the LLM. So it's better to give the metadata. So, and in this metadata, I've given exactly what I've explained just now, where I've given the descriptions of each and every column, and then it's up to you how descriptive you want. It's up to you, and the more the merrier, and you will get better results. Okay, moving on. Now I have added both data set and metadata, and I have a generate EDA questions button. So I'm going to click the generate EDA questions button, and I'm going to quickly walk you through the code as well with regards to how this works. So this generate EDA questions button will create questions, right? Or it will create the EDA questions, which I have given in the prompt in the backend. I've given that please create question under these 5 category buckets, which are basically data quality assessment, statistical summary, outlier detection, feature relationship, pattern trend anomalies. And if you notice, under each category, there are 5 questions, because that's something that I've told in the prompt, saying that under each category, generate 5. Now, the output of this, this exercise is in the form of JSON, because the user will have the ability to add or delete the questions. I can delete, and I can add my own questions here under that particular category, right, under data quality. So I've given this human in the loop implementation here. You can also have a fully automated version where end to end, we will, you will have the agent run these EDA by itself and then provide you with the technical report and also the business report, right? So in this case, I've given a human in the loop.
Zooming in a little bit, please, like on those questions, so we can read through them. Yeah, that's much better.
Sure. So I'll just read a couple of questions from each category, right? Data quality. Are there any missing values in critical columns such as CPU usage and memory usage or failure event, right? So this critical column, which is a critical column, you can give it in the metadata, and the agent will automatically know that, okay, metadata saying that these are critical columns, so it will create the questions accordingly. Then statistical summaries, right, which is the usual descriptive statistics, mean, median, mode, standard deviation, distribution, so on. That's what we have here. Outlier detection. Are we having any outliers for the analysis that we have? And then feature relationship, right? Is there any correlation between CPU usage and temperature? So this will give you a sense of, let's say if I am a data center, operator or a manager, I would like to see if my temperature goes above a particular category. If I have this insight, I will automatically know that the CPU load is high, and I might inform my head office saying that, hey, the CPU usage is high, and do you want to do something about it, right? So these are the ways where you can, you feed into your business and your business into the data, and you enable the person who's working with in this case, in the data center, to inform the business back. The last is pattern trend anomalies. So, are there any specific regions that have any abnormal, behavior? For a different use case, you might look for seasonalities, right? Let's say if you're working in the retail space, you might want to look for seasonalities broken by geography. In this case, we're looking at seasonal trends or failure events, right? Let's say if it gets really warm in the Middle East, for instance, you might want to ensure that look for seasonal trends for failure events, right? These are real examples that we can. So once I do this, I have to hit run EDA analysis. So if I hit EDA analysis, it's going to call the second agent, which is the EDA agent, and it's going to start generating the technical report and the business report. Okay. So I've clicked the EDA button. Now I'm going to quickly, while the code is running, while the Streamlit is running, I'm going to pivot into the code and I'm going to walk you through, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the output. All right. Quickly reiterating the flow, we have agent one, which is the business analytics BA agent, and then we have the EDA agent. Today, I'm going to walk you through just the BA agent part. And EDA agent is basically a replica of how we have implemented the BA agent. So the way it is, like I showed you just now, the user clicks the Streamlit button, the user uploads the data, and then the user will run the business analysis. That is the button that I clicked. And then the BA agent will call the crew agent. Crew AI agent is the framework that we have used. You can use LangGraph or LangChain or the agents that are provided. Microsoft also has a Microsoft agent framework. You can use any of it. And we have used GPT-4o as a LLM here. And this LLM will quickly create the JSON, and it will give the result that is returned to app.py. That is what is displayed in the UI, which is what we saw, those 5 categories, right? I'm going to show you how the BA agent will be instantiated. Okay. So Manisha walked you through steps to instantiate or to implement the Crew AI framework, right? Here are the steps. First, you need to define the agent and define the role. In the role, we're saying that, okay, it's a business analyst agent, and then the goal is generate comprehensive exploratory data analysis in JSON format and the backstory. Now, backstory gives the context so that the agent understands that we need to create insightful questions, right? And this is the way you define the role, and quickly pivot into how the crew agent is being instantiated here. And right after this, I'm going to go back and look at the output. So here is the way Manisha showed the example, right? Similarly here, the agent here is business analyst agent. The task is the EDA, the generating the EDA questions task. Process is sequential. If you have more than one agent, you can say sequential or asynchronous. So this is an agent which will help you orchestrate multi-agents. You can instantiate any number of agents, right? In this case, I only have business analyst agent. I can instantiate any number of agents, and I can determine the order in which these agents will be called. And that is what this is. Verbose calls it true. Once I hit the button, task actually captures the prompts that I've given. In this case, I've given the prompt as generate 5 exact questions, 5 questions in data quality, statistical summary, outlier detection, feature relationship, and pattern trend anomalies. I'm going to quickly show you the output that I ran just before so that it is easy for us to review it. So this is the technical report. Right? So this is an example of how the agent creates. If you're able to see my screen, is it big enough? Are you able to see it?
Yeah, we can see it, but it might help if you can zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah,
and I think we can also share maybe like the GitHub link. Like I know walking through the code might also take some time, so we can probably just look into the report and then we can share the code link in the chat if that's helpful.
Yes, sure. So this is the technical report that will create. The code is continuously running. I just ran it before the session so that I can demonstrate it. Because sometimes the speed in which the Streamlit runs is determined by the load that they have. So I did not want to take a chance. So here you see, right, seasonal trends in failure broken down by events and month. So you can see that number of failure events. So this is Jan. In Feb, you can see that the agent automatically generates the code. It generates the code here. It automatically generates the code. It generates the plot. It creates the output, and it also incorporates it, right? So this is the example of a seasonal failure. Similarly, I'll just show you one more, and then I want to show you the business, the final report, the business insights report. Here you see average power consumption by location. So by US East, this is the region that I mentioned, right? The most famous one. You have the power, that's the maximum power consumed. Not surprising, even though it is synthetic data. But yeah, then you have US West, you have Asia Pacific. All these are areas where the data centers are located. And you're looking at the average power consumption by location, right? So on and so forth. So this will give you a detailed technical report. And as a data scientist, we can start analyzing this, right? We can also have, like, if, let's say, for instance, looking at the power, we can also do like a predictive analysis. You can predict when it would fail, or you can do like a forecasting analysis to see how much of CPU usage will be used by location or by worldwide, right? These are analysis that you can do, and again, you can have another agent that will run the code. But these are some of the examples outside of what we're doing. I'm going to quickly show you the business insights report, how it's going to look like. So here is the example of the business insights report, right? Which I just ran, and I saved it in a Word document, right? I've highlighted some of it in the red. So let's focus on those that are in the red, right? So CPU usage. Here it says no immediate concerns, but 8 servers show extreme values between 2.83 to 100%, which should be reviewed. So that means that if you know that there is a correlation between CPU usage and failure event, those 8 servers, you can go track which location has those 8 servers. So maybe 1 or 2 or however many locations have those servers. You go and look at the CPU usage, and you ensure that you stock more additional capacity so that your CPU usage is shared by a lot more servers there in those particular locations, right? So this is a way where the data has been fed and it drives the business, and the business will be able to make CapEx decision to actually incorporate or to actually commission another CPU, right? So there'll be a CapEx decision involved. The way they will do it, they will look at the CPU, how many more CPU they need to deploy, and they look at failure events, and then they can make a judgment call with regards to, is this CapEx worth, because we have failures, and what is the cost of the failure? They can make those kind of assessments, and they can move forward, right? So this is an example where you're enabling the business team. Similarly, you have 2 servers have memory usage outliers, right? Then you can understand what are the cause, what could be the next step if memory overflows, right? Maybe customers are not going to be, if you run a simple workload in the server, you might take a lot of time for that particular server to respond, right? Because the memory is overflowing. So these are examples. One last, and then I'm going to give it to Manisha. So one server has a temperature outlier, right? So this is an example where we are looking at a temperature-based outlier. And it also says that there is a hardware issue. So you can inform your spares or warranty team to go and look for the hardware failure and go replace it with the part, right? So I hope it was helpful. It is a very neat implementation of 2 agents working in tandem. And first agent is providing you with technical report, and the second agent is providing you with the business report. It's implemented in Streamlit with Azure AI Foundry as the backend. Manisha, over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Siddharth. So this was pretty much what we had from our side. Feel free to type your questions in the chat, and I'm going to pass it over to Preetam.
Thank you so much, Manisha and Siddharth, for today's very informative session. And thank you very much, Siddharth, for that short demo for 10 minutes. But you showed a lot in that. And I believe this is definitely going to be helpful for all the participants today here. And I can see we have got some questions already. So I'll read one by one. Just allow me a few minutes to get the previous question. Here it is. So we have got this question from Ashutosh. What should we start learning first, agents or agentic course?
Agents or
Agentic course.
see, I would actually advise people to understand prompts first, because even as you see here, we've implemented Crew agents, Crew AI, right? But what Crew AI is going to throw us, or the Azure GPT-4 is going to throw us, is governed by what kind of prompts that I give, the role, the backstory, and then it is powered by prompts. So start from prompts, and then you can quickly move into LLM RAGs and then move into agents. So that would be my advice. I don't think you can. I'm assuming that you're a data scientist. Maybe I should have asked you first. If you're a business person, there are no code, low code agents like development kits. Like Manisha mentioned, right? Google has Agent Development Kit. That's an open source one. Microsoft has Azure AI Foundry. You can create no code, low code agents. So if you are, let's say, a product manager, you can directly jump into creating an agent and knowing how to use these tools. And again, you might still have to play with prompts, by the way. So I don't think you can escape that, but you don't have to go as deep as a data scientist.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Moving forward to another question, we have got it from Advait. How do you explain AI-driven decisions to stakeholders who don't understand AI? And this follow-up question as well, how do you reskill teams whose roles are partially automated without productivity loss?
Okay, let me answer the second one first, because the question is fresh in my memory. I can talk about what I do in my team. So we have a goal with regards to implementing X number of agents. That is a part of my OKR, and I'm driving that. But personally, the way you want to do is you want to ensure that you are definitely playing with any you have all these tools, right? Like the agent development kit, Azure AI Foundry, the ones that I said. It's very easy. You have to ensure that you stay accountable to yourself and try it out on a weekend or whatever works for you. And these are, and you can use, the Anthropic or ChatGPT or Gemini of the world to teach you. It's pretty easy, and they actually guide you.
The
So
other
that is
thing
the
I
second.
also want to mention on that, right, like all of our roles are evolving. So I know this person's question was like, how do you reskill the team, right? So like, I think if we have to stay ahead of the market, then we have to learn and understand that all of our roles are evolving with AI, right? Whether it's a product manager, whether it's a business analyst role, whether it's, whether it's uh, 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 any kind of tech professional, your role is going to shift with AI. So it's nice that you understand exactly how you can use this, and carve out some time for doing internal trainings, or like if you're attending this session, obviously that's a great sign that you're already working towards reskilling, and continue to do that.
I think
all right, so take the first question here.
So there was the first question, right, Manisha? What was the other question? There was two questions that they asked.
So how do you explain the AI-driven decisions to stakeholders who don't understand AI? So here's something I want to mention, right? The decisions are not changing. The decisions are still the decisions that you made previously. Now they are faster, they are automated, they are scalable, right? And they are helping you save a lot of your time, and reduce errors. So that is why the insights or the decisions are not changing, unless you were making wrong decisions previously. I mean, that's a different case, but the decisions are not changing with AI. We are just getting more scalable and faster and automated outputs from AI. The other thing I want to mention is that this doesn't eliminate the role of a human, right? There is always a human in the loop before we make decisions. So while there are insights which are being generated by these agentic workflows, and first these are being thoroughly tested, right? And then second is that we sometimes have a human in the loop, or even like a LLM rater, and I'm not going to get into details of that, But there are some evaluation metrics which we put in place to make sure that these insights are the right insights, right? Like, and then, like, at the end of the day, like, if your insights affect real jobs, real people, real decisions, then you have to have that human in the loop and sanity check, like all those insights. Yeah. Like, sorry, all those decisions which which are being made with AI. I hope this, okay. So I hope this helps. All right, over to you, Preetam.
Yes, Manisha, thank you so much for answering previous question, Siddharth. You too, and I can see the last question for the today as we are running quite of time for scheduled time for the Q&A. So we'll be taking this question as the last question. So dear participants, I would like to inform you if you have any further questions or want to discuss, feel free to reach out to our speakers. I've already shared the LinkedIn profile link in the chat box, so you can have a discussion about it. And also you can post your queries over social media and tag GSDC. We'll make sure that one of our subject matter is getting back to you with the answer. So here's the last question for today. We have got it from Gagandeep. Most of time LLM gives hallucinate and confident answer instead of giving output. I don't know. Can we trust OpenAI with this with its answer?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So I think